welcome back to the main channel. Today we're reviewing the War Games in colour. Bang, 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 bang. My impression of War in the War Games. Last night, the 23rd of December 2024, we saw the airing of the War Games in colour on BBC4 at 9 PM. Today, 24th of December 2024, Merry Christmas Eve for everyone that celebrates. We are today talking about broadcast from last night. First of all, we're going to start off with the elephant in the room, the colorisation. Now, the only colorisation we've got to go off to compare the two is the 2023 colorisation of the Daleks. So we haven't got much to go off because that was the two different stories, one with Petra Charlton and one with William Hartnell. William Hartnell last year, Petra Charlton this year, and they've both got two different styles of doing things. So when you watch the colour, when you think of the colorisation in the War Games, from the get-go, it's a lot better. What I mean by that is that when you first watch the Daleks, you go, yeah, my eyes, oh, burn my eyes, because the purple's too bright, but then after 10-15 minutes, your eyes adjust to that, and then you watch it and you get used to it. With this, you haven't got any of that, because you haven't got an alien planet you have to brighten up. So having it set on Earth really means that they've got general tones of colour. This time they've got, well, obviously last time they had Carol Ann Ford. I do apologise if I mispronounced that. Horrendously played Susan alive to be able to ask what colours were used. But with the War Games, a lot of, like, Jamie, Fraser Hines is still alive, so we've got Fraser Hines to ask what colour was his kilt, what colour was this, that, the other. And I think that the licensing on clothing colour is fine. It's just the skin tone. You have to make sure they get as accurate as possible. So now that we've discussed that the colorisation was pretty good and was really, really amazing, the whole thing was amazing. It was worth every second of what we got out of it. What we need to talk about next is, was the story good enough? What I mean by that is that we all know the War Games is an important story in Doctor Who's history because of being Patrick Charlton's final story, and as a whole, the story just sets up Doctor Who for the third Doctor. So I think that we all know the story of the plot, but was the cut down version still digestible? So when I was watching it, I was thinking what I'm going to say in this review throughout it, and I thought, oh, you didn't really notice where the cuts were, but then they started using a cut that I think they fabricated, to be honest, of a shot of Gallifrey before it moves on to the next bit. So I think that's how they've adjusted some of the cuts at that back end of the story. Overall, I think the story still made sense. I still got you still grasp the entire concept of what you were watching and what you were expecting to see. So it made more sense down the line when you're watching this going, yes, oh yeah, I remember that bit. And because some of the War Games are still available to watch in its original format, when you compare the two, you go, that's really clever what they've done there with that certain aspect. And I think that the thing we have to praise it for is doing something new, doing something that's hilarious, really, when you think about it. So this is a spoiler for the War Games in colour. If you haven't seen it, I'm just trying to adjust myself because I feel like I'm going to fall off this chair. I do apologise. If you haven't seen it, stop watching now because I'm going to give a spoiler that made me chuckle. So when you watch An Adventure in Time and Space, it has William Hartnell in it, not actual William Hartnell, whereas David Bradley played William Hartnell. It's just before he moves on to Patrick Child, played by Reece Shearsmith. He looks at the next Doctor, or the current Doctor, sorry, in that aspect. So, on the next, to a version of the Doctor that's more recent. So in the 50th anniversary, it was Matt Smith, and in the 60th anniversary, it was Ncuti Gatwa. That aspect of that, blending the two together, New Who and Classic Who. So what they've done in the War Games is the bit where they say to him, you can choose a face. So he's got a wall of these faces, and he doesn't like any of them. None of them are women, right? So when they did the newer version where you include David Tennant, you include Matt Smith, you include Jodie Whittaker, it doesn't. The Jodie Whittaker one is the only one I'm slightly unsure about. The others, I think, is just hilarious. Like, of course, you've got opportunity to change anything. Of course, you want to make a silly reference to New Who. Of course, you want to see how many times you can fit David Tennant into every episode of Doctor Who ever, in both audio and in the fact that he did a lot of audios. Is all I'm saying. He is my favourite Doctor of all time, number 10. But he was in a lot of audios for a good while, and so they pop him in. But I think that the bit when they had Johnny's face, it doesn't entirely work because he hasn't referenced. He said, "Oh, that's too young. It's not. Oh, it's a woman," and none of what Patrick Troughton says links to that image. So I just think that's the only one that they messed up on, because I think that even though they were just trying to give a brief overview of a few Doctors just as a quick gag, for the creators, I just think that they should have chosen someone else that wasn't Jodie, because as long as the original utilised a woman's face when he was choosing the faces, then that would have made sense. He would have referenced that, but he didn't. And I think that if you look at it, if you think about it logically, you would reference that. If you were choosing a face, you would reference that, because he'd say, no, they're too young, they're too old, he's not happy with them. So he would mention it at least. But overall, I think that segment worked really well, and utilising its original regeneration cycle worked really well. And I quite like how they added the new one, because even though you could tell that was a render of the TARDIS interior, and you know that was fabricated just because you want to be able to link the two together. In a cut down version, you want to be able to link it, because that's what we would get now in New Who. So in New Who now, we would get regeneration into the next Doctor. They would do something, and that will infect what their first episode is. And so in Classic Who, you get that aspect of trying to balance between, and I think that the effect looked really good, and the facial expression was from a Jon Pertwee facial expression, so I think that worked really well in that sense. Overall, I think that the story was both fascinating and fantastic, because it's fascinating because you're trying to work out where the cuts are, you're trying to work out where elements appear. A lot of people I've seen online talking about the fact that when every time you see the War Chief, they play the Master Murray Gold theme, which is unusual. I didn't notice that per se, because I wasn't really paying attention to the audio underneath. I was paying attention to the visuals, to the acting, to all the elements that you could see. So I didn't notice that they're trying to make it out of the War Chief is the Master, which he isn't. It's a fan theory, but he isn't. The Master, first played by Roger Delgado in Jon Pertwee's first series, was not the War Chief previously. No matter how many times you want to say that, no matter how many people you want to talk to, he is not the War Chief. And so, before the microphone dies, because it's now yelling at me, telling, I'm gonna die, I want to say that overall, I think that it was brilliant, amazing, and well worth the watch if you haven't already seen it. The DVD is 3 discs long, so I'm excited to find out what else is on the DVD. I'll probably do a movie news of it down the line once we know more information. But overall, I think that the story still stuck to the heart of what it was for, and still told the story really well, and cut down worked. I know that a lot of people will say I prefer the original, but the cut down worked, and I think that it might help bring in a younger audience, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to introduce younger audiences to the world of classic Who. So there you have it. I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it? Hey guys, watching. Comment about. Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to the official Tom Mason YouTube channel.